another week with me, Susie Pettit, your certified life and wellness coach. I am thrilled to be in your ear as I am every week, and I am especially thrilled because this week I have a special podcast guest to bring us. Georgia Woodbine is on the show today, and she is one of the world's top female speakers, helping to motivate and inspire an entire generation. She is widely known as a change agent, an author, a lifestyle transformation coach, and a dynamic and entertaining speaker. She has authored several books and has been a life coach for over 13 years. She's coached hundreds of people. She is in love with life, so what a perfect fit for the Love Your Life show. She enjoys being an empowerment advocate for others to find their true purpose. She's been featured in media outlets such as the Daily News, Huffington Post, Rolling Out Magazine, Sirius Radio XM. She's also been a guest speaker at Time Warner Cable, Columbia, Stony Brook, Rutgers, and Howard University. Today, we have the honor of having her on the Love Your Life show, and we get into it, warriors. Listen in, because we cover such a wide variety. I'm like, you want to buckle in. This is a good one. We talk meditation. We talk mission statements. We talk vision boards. We talk COVID. We get into it all, and I'm just thrilled that she's on the show. So let's dig in. All right. Hello, warriors. I have our super special guest on the show today, Georgia Woodbine. Welcome to the show, Georgia.
Hi, thanks for having me. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for taking your time. I really do value your time, and I value our listeners and watchers' time too. And I am so excited that I could bring you and some of your message to their ears and their eyes today, depending on whether they watch the podcast or the video. You have been all over the place, and you have really dedicated your life to empowering people and helping people live lives that they love, which is the name of my show. And one thing that has been really neat, I've just seen that message coming out and out again, whether you've been on Huffington Post or the Daily News. And I love studying human behavior, and I would just love to know how you got to be doing what you're doing. That is, like, I know one of the things you said that I love is you said you can't teach what you don't know.
Right.
So I would love to hear how you got to being where you are, this amazing, empowering.
Well, you know, I always tell people that the road to, or the journey to self-discovery, there's a lot of obstacles, there's a lot of setbacks, there's a lot of disappointment, there's a lot of pain. And it's usually when your back is up against the wall and you feel like you can't go anywhere, you can't make any movement in your life, you feel stuck. That's when real transformation begins, because that's when you really start to question yourself. You start to question your life. Why am I here? I always say the most important question that you will ever ask yourself is, why am I here? And that's how it all started for me.
Oh, that is so neat. And so this is what I'm hearing is this is a journey you've been on, and you've had some darker moments, as have I.
Yes.
And how did you first start tapping into that sort of inner guidance, or be able to listen to that, why I'm here?
Well, for me, I remember I was going through a really tough time in my life, meaning like I lost my job, I lost my grandmother, I was in a lot of debt, and it was just a lot of turmoil in my life. And I remember like praying to God, like, God, you know, why is this happening? You know, people always ask, why is this happening? But the question should be, why not? Why not me? Not why me? Because when things like that happen, it's definitely, you know, a purpose on your life, and you're going through it so that you can share your journey on how you've come out of it with someone else. But for me, it was during that time I was like really going through a lot of confusion and chaos. And I think a lot of people are, especially now with what's going on. People are living in a place where they really don't know, you know, what's going to happen tomorrow, what's going to happen next week, what's going to happen next month. It's like everything is kind of like up in the air. And at some point in your life, you're going to have to learn to just trust that, the unknown. I think the hardest thing for people is to embrace the unknown. And the unknown does not always have to be such a bad thing. I think that when we're not used to something different happens, it becomes this resistance of, well, what are we going to do, and how are we going to handle it, and how are we going to respond? So I remember having a dream, and to me, it was really more of like a vision more than a dream, because I remember getting to the end of that dream and getting a message. And I can't even remember how many dreams I've actually remembered what I dreamt. But in this dream, I'm like sitting in this room. I'm in this dark room, all alone, just me. And then as I look outside, it's really like dark and gloomy, almost like it's like thunderstorms and raining. And I'm sitting in this room by myself, and I'm sitting in a yoga position. And as I look out the window, I see the curtains, they all like just start to move apart on its own. In the dream, I'm sitting alone in this room. So that's like that fear in me, like, what's going on? I don't see anything, but I see something moving. And in the dream, I'm like about to get up, because I'm like, that fear in me in the dream. And I'm about to get up. And then something tells me, just wait, just sit. So I sit patiently, and I sit calmly, and I'm looking out the window. And I'm staring out the window, and I'm looking up, and then it's just like really windy, and almost like you think about the Wizard of Oz, like just everything just flying everywhere. And I'm just staring out. And then all of a sudden there's a calm. And as the calm is coming, it starts to get really sunny outside, and it's really sunny and it's really bright. And I'm still sitting there. And then all of a sudden I see like this mountain going up into the sky. And I see a form figure sitting on top of this mountain. And it's a very peaceful figure. I can't see the face. I can't see, all I could see is the shadow of a form figure sitting on top of this mountain. And as the form figure sitting on top of the mountain, he takes his hand and he releases something to me, just like this. And so in the dream, I end up like sitting with my hands like this in the dream. And it was a letter. And the letter said, do not fret nor worry. Everything that you're going through is a test to make you stronger. I will grant you the desires of your heart. And that was the letter. And it was so plain as day, so like, and I just remember when I woke up, I called my mom. I was like, Mom, you won't believe just what happened to me just now. I'm like, I said, I feel like it was a dream, but it was like so real. I could feel my whole body. I could feel all the emotions and everything, like I was really, really there. And so I said, I think this was a vision, Mom. I don't know if it was a dream, but it was just so real. And I remember during that time in my life, that's when I got the inclination to start writing. I mean, I always had the gift of writing. Did I know I could write books? No. Did I know I had the gift to be an author? No, but I think that as you go on in life, you start to tap into gifts that you have that you've never used, or you've never been exposed to, or no one has ever, put you in a position to master those gifts so that you could use those things. And so for me, it was like, okay, your gift is usually something that is a natural ability. It's a natural skill that you have. And other people will say to you, wow, how do you do that? You're just like so good at that. You just have a knack. That is your gift. That is your talent. That is your natural ability. And so for me, I didn't know, and that's when I started writing the books. And I remember getting that vision, and that vision was actually my first book. So that's how it started for me.
Oh, what you touched on so many pieces there. First of all, like the beginning of your dream really sounds like 2020 so far. Like just the storm, the clouds, the crazy day. But I also love absolutely just sort of that sit back and it's all okay. Like just that rest and that the letter, said that your desires will be taken care of. That belief in the future, and that the universe or whomever is working for you, not against you. And just sort of the calmness that can layer on there if you allow yourself, which you apparently did, to rest in that. And then the other piece I love is how you said, you just sort of, I call it following your sparks, but you had the interest to start writing, and whether, you'd been encouraged to do that or not, it's just, okay, that seems right to me now. And I'm not going to look 4 years down the road to see where that's getting me, but right here, right now, that seems pretty good.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things I teach as well as a life coach, is that people say, I want to do this, but, and then they'll talk themselves out of what they're trying to do because they think of all the reasons why they can't do it. And it's like, you're already talking yourself out of it. So, you have to really look at what are some of the things that you can do now, right now in your present. Like some people say to me, well, Georgia, I love speaking. I love speaking in public. I said, well, volunteer, do things now. Now people, they say, oh, I want to start a radio show, or I want to start a talk show, or I want to start, now is the time to do it. We are living in a time where the internet is so huge. You can reach people all over the country. Like, look at how we met.
Mm-hmm.
And you're, in Washington, I'm in New York. You can meet people from all over the world, all over the country. You can touch lives. You can make a difference in the world. You don't have to wait for huge platforms anymore. You don't have to wait to be on television anymore. You see all these YouTubers, all these Instagrammers, all these Facebook, everybody has a platform, and you have a platform, and you can create that platform. And the thing is, what people don't realize, they always say, well, Georgia, how did your brand get so big? And how did you become so successful at what you do? Well, I asked myself, why? Why, Georgia? Why are you doing this? What is your motivation? Because your motivation is so important in how things fall into place. Because if you're doing it just for money, if you're doing it just for notoriety, if you're doing it just because you want to be seen, if you're doing it because you want to get a bunch of likes, what is the reason why you're doing this thing? And it has to be bigger than you. It has to be deeper than what you see on the surface in the material eye. It has to be more in a spiritual form when you realize that I have something that I've been through in my life. I have come out of it. I have made better choices. How did I get through this transition in my life? How was I able to turn my life around, to get out of debt, deal with losing my job, deal with losing a loved one, deal with failing relationships? How was I able to take all of these things and make them work for me and use them as a stepping stone, rather than having these things impact me in a way where I feel like I can't move, or I can't grow, or I can't evolve? And it's really about that. It's about the evolution of self, really, at the end of the day.
I really appreciate that. And I've heard, could you speak a little more on, I've heard you say focus on the solutions, not the problems. What do you mean by that?
Absolutely. I think that sometimes people get so caught up with the problem of what's going on in their life. It's so hard for them to find the answers. And sometimes the answers are not so far-fetched. Sometimes they're right in front of you. There's like this movie that I love. I think it was Jim Carrey, where he played, Morgan Freeman played God, and Jim Carrey was in this movie. You remember that one? And he kept saying, give me a sign, God, give me a sign. And all these signs kept coming in front of him.
Jim Carrey style. It's like, oh, great, yeah.
And he was getting all of these signs. And it was like, he just kept looking over this and kept asking for signs, and it kept coming. And it was right there in front of him. And he kept stumbling over it. And he was too focused on the problems and the things that weren't working, to see that there are solutions. And I think, for me, is the first thing is to be able to conquer your fears, is to let go and understand that, the only thing constant in life is change, meaning that there's always going to be a change of a job. There's always going to be change in a relationship. There's going to be change in the way where you live, your location, your geographic area. There's going to be a change in your environment, the people that you meet. So in life, we are always going through changes. Think about when you left elementary school, how you felt when you went to junior high school, or how when you went to junior high school and how you left when you went to high school. And then when you left high school, you went to college, and then you went off to look for a job. It's like, this is evolution of life, meaning there's going to be constant change. And once we understand that, we can't control that. And I think that's where the stress is, in the control, in having control.
Thinking that's control, right? Yeah. Wanting to, absolutely. And right now, with, as we're recording this, the quarantine and COVID, like everything's just sort of, kids are choosing about schools, and we're deciding what's open, what's not open, and it's that lack of control. Yet, on one hand, we never had control, but more to your point, it's through these changes and through this discomfort that we grow. I like thinking of it as a gym. If we're building bigger muscles, you know, if I can right now do 2 push-ups and I try for 3, my muscles are going to be sore tomorrow. That doesn't mean that anything's gone wrong.
Right.
It's pushing through that. And, you know, if I'm in 8th grade and I feel fear about going to 9th grade or 12th grade and I feel fear about going to college, it doesn't mean anything's gone wrong. It's that, like, just take that next best step. And I like how you address that, and just the, come on, it's okay, you know, have that sort of let go, have the faith in the greater
higher power, whatever people believe in. For me, it's God. For someone, it might be someone else or something else, but it's okay. It doesn't matter what it is, but whatever it is that brings you that peace, that's what you need to hold on to right now. The peace of mind. You know, one of the things I always talk about as well is when you are going through that transition in your life, you understand that things are, you operate in life based on things that's important to you. So one of the things I talk about is to prioritize your life based on things that make you feel good, based on things that make you feel happy. So especially now, like, stop worrying about what you don't have control over, but don't miss out on living. Don't miss out on your present moment, because your present moment doesn't last. You know what I mean? Don't worry, don't fret about the future and be upset about the past. You know what I mean? Just like allow it to mold you, to get you to the next level. And I think that once we learn how to surrender, which is the hardest thing, right? To let go.
Yeah.
Surrender preconceived notions of what you think will truly make you happy. Because I think that when you grow up in life, you're taught that if you have a happy relationship or a happy marriage, or if you live in this beautiful house, or if you drive this beautiful car, or if you have all the money in the world, or if you have, you know, like it,
if this, then that. Yeah, it's like, if this, then you'll be right. Exactly.
Yep. Society. And if you think about it, even when you look at television and commercials, and that's the message that they send,
100%.
Signals to your brain that you don't even realize that are coming to your brain that, okay, yeah, they say, oh, you'll have this car, and this car take you cross country now, because everybody's worrying about, oh, I don't want to be isolated. So what do they do in the commercials? They show you these cars and they're like, you can drive across country, you can do this, you can do that. And so they feed us that these things are going to make us feel
these external things. Yeah, they're like, you're unhappy, get these jeans. Like, oh, okay. That's gonna do it.
Yep. That's going to make you feel complete. And so once you understand that, there's really nothing missing to make you happy. I think that with what's going on with COVID-19, it's creating a consciousness level shift, meaning that people are starting to realize what's truly important. They're starting to spend more time with their family. They're starting to eat dinner together. They're starting to go for walks with their children, riding their bikes. I mean, I see it everywhere. And I'm like, we get so caught up in the race. We get so caught up in the norm. And then you realize, was the norm really serving you?
Yeah.
Was it serving you? Was it making you better? Was it making you more fulfilled? Was it bringing you more peace? Was it bringing you more joy? Was the norm really better for you? You know, and I think a lot of people are realizing now, especially people that are working from home, they're like, wait a minute, I think I like this. I like being home with my children. I mean, it's a shift in the way you normally do things, but they're like, I can spend more time with my children. I can balance my life. I can feel more connected to my loved ones. You know what? I don't know if I want to go back to the normal.
Yeah.
The normal wasn't perfect.
Definitely. Yeah, I feel that it's like shining a magnifying glass on what is. And so if they do have comfortable, thriving relationships at home, they are having that like, oh, wow, this isn't so bad. Why was I racing to bring them to this violin lesson and this soccer game and me going to my book club with, people I don't really like? Why was I doing this stuff? But on the other side, I'm also seeing that magnifying glass. If you're working, and you come home and you're like, wait a minute, what's happened to my relationships? I'm telling myself I'm working for my kids or for my spouse. And then, I don't really know these people. It's an interesting place to be. And I think that's really where your message on focus on the solution, not the problem. We don't need to spend time beating ourselves up for what was, or, to your point of being in the present moment. It's like, okay, the past is past. What do we have here and now? Right. And what do you want to do about it? Exactly. And you do about it, not externally buying that pair of jeans or car.
Or that new car. Right. Exactly. And I think, one of the things I also focus on when I'm teaching others is to really create a mission statement for your life. A lot of times people hear, oh, mission statement. Oh, that's an organization, a corporation, a not-for-profit. They have mission statements, but you too should have a mission statement for your life. And I'll tell you why. When you create a mission statement for your life, you have a more clear picture of what it is you should be doing, what it is you should be spending your time doing, what it is that makes sense with your gifts, your talents, your natural abilities. You start to connect the dots in your life. Things start to make sense. You don't feel so chaotic, like you're chasing this and you're chasing that, and someone's monopolizing your time here and you really have no interest and you don't even know why you're doing it. You're just doing it. Yeah. So creating a mission statement gives you a roadmap. Now, I'm going to share with your audience what my mission statement is.
Oh, great. I was going to say, yeah.
So my mission statement every day when I wake up is, I, Georgia Woodbine, am here to empower, inspire, and motivate 1 million plus people to transform their mindset to change their lives. So therefore, that's what guides me. That's what I base everything off, that mission, my daily activities, how I utilize my time, who I socialize with. It has to tie into my mission statement.
Oh, I mean, it really brings in the values too. So if you're asked to volunteer at a bake sale that, you don't see that, you're going to say no, because it doesn't line up with your mission statement. I mean, I really like the clarity that brings.
It really does. And you won't feel like you're so all over the place. And, people always complain, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. Well, there are 168 hours in a week. And so when you look at how many hours are really in a week and how you're dissecting those hours and where you're losing time, now you can take control of your time. Because most of the times people don't even know where they're losing time, why they feel like they really don't have enough time. 24 hours in a day is 168 hours a week. So what are you doing with your week? And start dissecting it that way. So that way you can look at it and say, wow, okay, I spend time doing this. Maybe I spend too much time on social media. Maybe I spend too much time on the computer. Maybe and then you can start to pull back on those things and say, okay, wait a minute. This is where I'm losing time. This is where I have time to focus on maybe meditating. Meditation is a big, big piece in my success, and I tell people that because what meditation did, I started meditating about 15 years ago.
Wow.
And people always ask me, Georgia, how did you get on this path? Like, how did you get so intuitive? How did you get so enlightened? And a lot of it is me doing the work, self-work, meaning putting the time into myself, changing bad habits, doing things differently. People always say, what separates ordinary people from extraordinary people? And it's not so much that they're so much smarter than you. It's just that they do things differently. So looking at your life and saying, okay, if these are the results that I've been getting, that means that I can't keep doing that same thing because it keeps bringing me back to here.
Yes, you want different results, do something
exactly. Different. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again. And what? You're looking for a different result. And guess what? You're not going to get a different result. So looking at the everything that you're doing, and the bad habits that you need to change. Like when you hear people say, you know what, I feel like I'm overweight. Oh, this COVID-19, I've been home, I've been eating so much. Okay, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it? You have to start changing your habits. Are you drinking wine every night? Are you eating late at night? What have you changed in your diet? You know what I mean? And looking at that and saying, okay,
Taking
well, this is what
responsibility for it. Yeah.
exactly, being accountable. You
So
have to be accountable.
how has meditation helped you with that? And how do you advise people to sort of, because I'm not as far along as you are on the meditation journey, but I too would say that meditation's changed my life. And
Absolutely.
I know a bit about you, that you're a high achiever and you're go, 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 as was I. And I know initially I had a lot of resistance. I'm like, I don't have time for that, to sit around and just be all mellow. But could you tell me a little about how it's changed your life and how you find
So
the motivation to do it?
sure. So when I first started meditating, I had that same attitude as well. Like, I'm a busy person. I don't have time. Yeah, that doesn't really work. Oh yeah, they're just saying that. I don't think it, people are like, yeah, that's not going to work for me.
Right.
And so I really started out doing it like maybe 5 minutes a day, and then 10 minutes a day. And then gradually I started to go up in time, because I realized that what meditation was doing for me, it was creating clarity. It was giving me more focus. It was keeping me in tune. It was allowing me to see things differently. My whole perception. I was getting ideas. It's just so powerful that it can change so many things in your life, how you look at life. There's a famous quote that I love. It's by Dr. Dwyer, and it says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And it's so profound, that quote, because what meditation does, it changes the way you look at things. It gives you solutions, and it shows you how to focus on solutions rather than your problems. It gives you clarity when you have chaos. It gives you focus when you don't have time management. So it really aligns the things in your life, and it really connects the dots, and things start to make sense in your life. And you're like, oh, okay, well, that's why I did that. Or that's why I worked at that job, because I needed to get that skill. Oh, that's why I went to school for this, because this is the education I need to build my business. Or that's why, so you start to say, oh yeah, you start pulling all these pieces like, okay, yes, 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 yes. It makes sense.
Yeah.
It all makes sense. You wasn't doing those things mindlessly. It was preparing you for something bigger. It was preparing you for something greater. And so everybody has a gift. When people come to me and say, oh, I don't have a gift, I don't know. No, you have a gift. You just don't know what it is. We all have a gift. We don't all have the same gifts. Of course not, because we're all authentic. We're all unique. We're all born differently, but we all have gifts. We all have purpose. We all have things that we have gone through in our lives. And I think for me, my success really came when I started to be transparent. And I think that's what happens with people that are successful. They always tell you, oh, I got this and this and this, but they don't tell you, but that happened before this happened. I was in debt, or, I lost my home, or, I lost my job, or, I was in debt, or, I was in a failing relationship, or, they don't tell you about all the stuff that leads to success, because it's a journey. It's not a destination. It's so true. That quote is, it's a journey, and the journey never stops. And even as you evolve, you continue to evolve. And that's when you're really growing, because you understand that you are constantly changing. What you thought last year is not the person you're going to be this year, especially with what's going on. The way you think is not going to be the way you were thinking last year at this time, because of what's going on in your environment.
Right. If you're
you're going to change. You're going to change, and it's okay. And I think that the key really to change is to change your mindset. That's where it starts. And it doesn't matter what you're trying to change, whether it's your finances, whether it's your relationship, whether it's your job, whether it's your weight, anything. It starts with you changing your mindset. I want to change this thing, and these are the action steps that I'm going to take to make it happen.
Yeah, working with a coach, reading some books like yours, absolutely. And having that attention that it is your thoughts that are creating your feeling and your actions, and your results are because of you. I think that's a big piece, is the responsibility factor, not just, oh gee, I gained weight over COVID, or oh gosh, I'm not happy and I have that car and those jeans. It's like, okay, hold on. There's a path. And I like how you bring up that, it's part of the journey, because I think that's something I thought when I was younger, that there was sort of that line where I'd get there and be happy, like, yes, and that is not, it is a path, and we were on that journey, and yeah, I think at the end of the journey is the end of life. So I'm not looking for that to end anytime soon. But there is, it's ups and downs on this journey, and that's
it is ups and downs. And you know what most people don't realize is that thoughts don't attract. It's the energy and the vibration that attracts. And I think that's where people get the misconception of this: how do I attract what it is that I want to manifest? And it's not just thoughts. It's a combination of feeling. It's really what's really triggering that thing to move faster, to come to you, is how you feel. So if you're feeling sad, if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling like you're all alone, if you feel like the whole world is on your shoulder, if you're feeling like everything bad is, that's why I tell people, be very conscious of what's coming out of your mouth, what you speak, because what you speak, you are putting it out into the universe and it is coming back to you. So be aware of the words that you're using, be aware of the words that you speak, be aware of the way that you say things, because you don't even realize it, by saying that thing, you are triggering something in your brain, and it's actually working without you even realizing it, to bring this thing into reality.
Yeah. I love using the word emotion for feelings, because to me that reminds me it's an energy in motion. Like my feeling or my emotion is an energy in me. So if I'm feeling excited to talk to you today on the show, I'm like, that's a whole energy, versus like, oh, okay, I have a full schedule today. That's a whole energy. It's how I'm framing it, what I'm thinking about, and the energy I'm bringing to it. And I really appreciate your point there. So if people are listening and they're like, okay, I want in, Georgia, help me out. Do you have any sort of simple steps that they could start with today or tomorrow, like a direction to get them to start shifting that mindset or thinking more solutions?
Absolutely. Setting goals, which is very, very important. I know people think, oh, out of sight, out of mind. I could set a goal, but you know what? It's there. Set a goal, set a timeline next to that goal, what it is that you're trying to create with the end result in mind, and track your progress. Another thing I would say is definitely to prioritize your life based on what's important to you. So look at where you're spending your time, set your priorities based on what's important to you. Positive affirmations, that is such a big, big piece. Speaking positive affirmations into your life. Now, why is that important? Because the brain is a powerful thing, people. It is super powerful. And you can put into it what you want, and you could also let whatever you want come out. So if you're constantly telling yourself, because most people don't realize, but the average person has between 12,000 and 60,000 thoughts a day. And of those thoughts, 95% are negative and 90% are repetitive thoughts. So because we are built this way, creatures of habit, we tend to always go for things that's much easier for us, which is to think negative. Thinking negative is easy. It doesn't take work to think negative. It's just something that it's like a reflex, okay? It's so easy to think negative. It's so easy. To think positive, it takes a lot more energy. It takes more work. So that's why you have to start doing that positive self-talk, because when you have positive self-talk, it motivates you, it encourages you, it helps you attain your goals. One of the other things that I also teach as a life coach is for people to create vision boards. Vision boards are powerful because why? You're looking right at it. These positive affirmations are right there. They're building you up. They're in your head. And what happens when you start to see these words, you start to react, you start to respond, you start to do things because you are seeing these words every day. So that's why it's so important. It nurtures you. It helps to build your confidence. It helps to build a momentum for the positive energy. Because even me as a life coach, negative thoughts creep up. all the time. But it's about combating those thoughts with positive thoughts and knowing when to switch it. See, most people don't know when to switch that because we're all going to get it. And it doesn't matter how much we evolve or how much in tune we become, they're going to constantly pop up because we're creatures of habit.
Right.
So it's about turning down the negative voice. I can't, I don't, I won't, I can't, I don't know how, and turning up that positive one. I can, I will, you know, and this is how I will do it. So it's really about changing the way you speak to yourself because that is going to truly help you on your path. And of course, it's going to take self-discipline. Discipline is hard, right? It's so hard for us to have discipline, and self-discipline is really the key. It's one of the hardest things for people to achieve, but most of us know that we need to do this. We know we need to do this to change our lives, but sometimes we lack the focus and discipline to do it. Just like we talked about before.
I say choose your heart because, as you said, it's easy. Like the easy road is feeling negative and letting our brain go to that negative, and having a little bit of self-discipline and a little bit of structure in our day where you may, you wake up and you say your mission statement, and then you look at your vision board and you set a time for meditation. That might be hard and that takes discipline, but it's easier for me than feeling like crap. So I encourage our listeners.
Practice.
It does. And the more you practice, the easier it becomes. I appreciate your point, saying as a life coach, these thoughts still come up, and they do for me as well. Yet I do want to just sort of zing some encouragement out there to our listeners and audience, in that it does get easier. The more we reprogram our brain, I'm able to catch my negative self-talk a lot faster, or when I start getting into that, like, oh, woe is me, and looking at the problems, I'm able to sort of like have an electric jolt and be like, wait a minute, Susie, there you go. Something's going on.
Right. You become better at it. You become more in tune with it, and you become, you know how to switch it. Like you said, when it's creeping up, and like, okay, what do I need to do? Mindfulness is really about being fully present. And when you're fully present, you can embrace your current experiences. And then oftentimes we base who we are based on our history, or what the world tells us who we are, or parents told us who we are. It's really about coming into that connection of true self, knowing your true identity and why you were even put here on this planet. I'm not talking about the name that your parent gave you, or the title you had on your job, or even the label you've been giving in society, a mother, a daughter, a sister, or a friend. I'm talking about the real you underneath all that, because there's so much you that you haven't even tapped into yet. And that's what happened for me. Like, once I embraced that, Georgia Woodbine, that's my name, but who is Georgia Woodbine? Who is this person? Why am I here? That's when it began for me. Like, okay, there's more to me than just this name that I was given at birth.
Oh, I love that. I'm going to end it right there, Georgia, because that's exactly how you started. Just, sort of asking, why am I here? And finishing with that is just beautiful. I'm going to have all the links, because when listeners or watchers watch or listen to this, they're going to want to know to find more, how to find more of you, and to dig into all of your stuff. So I know that you're active on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, and I have all those links in the show notes. And I am...
Yes. And I do want to share a free gift with your audience.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Everyone like freebies, right?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
So the link is to my website, www.georgiawoodbine.com. And when they go to my website, I'll be sharing with your audience the 5 secrets to turn your passion into profits. It's a free guide, and you just have to put your name and email, and then it will come right at your email.
Oh, that's exciting. Secrets too. See, you've sparked the curiosity. We'll head over there. Well, thank you so much for taking time today
Oh, no problem. Thank you
for
so
your
much
listens.
for having me. It's always a pleasure to share my gifts with the world.
Thank you.